What's up, y'all? My name is Corey. Welcome to the Beside Me podcast, where we talk about purpose, society, and space. Today, we have a special guest. Welcome here by Xavier, and I'll just let him introduce himself.
I'm Xavier Sorensen. I'm 19 and college student right now. That's about it.
So, pretty much obvious question. Like, what do you do, I guess, right now, college student, like what school you go to and stuff like
I'm
that?
at Durham Tech Community College right now. Psychology major. I might switch it though. I might go to sociology, or some history. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Just focus on that.
All right. Why sociology? Like, isn't it like
it's the most
close?
Huh?
Aren't like psychology and sociology close?
A little bit. Sociology is like institutions more than the brain. You know, it's like how, like it's societies basically instead of the individual brain and whatever.
Gotcha.
But that is what I found way more interesting this year. But it can depend on the lecturers too. You know, my professor for sociology was good. It was great.
Yeah. I can get you with that. I remember taking psychology. I'm glad I'm finished with them because my recent class, I took a paper, I did a paper, I got a 0 on it.
How do you get a 0?
Well, I don't know. I waited till like the last week to do it. I had all semester, but somehow when I finished turning the paper, I did like, I don't know if it was 3,000 words, I think. It was a long paper.
There's no way, all right.
Bro, and I got a 0 on the paper.
Did you not write your name or something?
Well, I did everything right. It was like, I had some deductions. The rubric took my grade down, and I was like, all right. And this ain't what it was. I passed the class with a C, but I would have had an A if that paper ain't bring my grade all the way down. So pretty much we're going to jump right into it with the first question. I'm going to bust it out kind of with talking about society. Mm-hmm. So with all, like, I guess the quote unquote delusion going around with, females these days or whatever. So like, what do you think is the reason for all this, these certain opinions that females have that are on social media or whatever?
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean by delusion? Like, in what aspect?
So I don't know if you've seen like that delusion calculator on social media, pretty much where they put in like these certain aspects or type that these women like. They want a 6-foot black male that's making $400K a year.
Are you talking about like just unrealistic stuff?
Yeah, unrealistic stuff. They're just like, just how do you kind of want that type of man when you're not, bringing something to the table that's equal or whatever?
I mean, my whole thing is like going into a relationship, in my opinion, seeing something as like the perfect archetype is not, like, you're narrowing down your options to so little. Like, you could actually find a love of your life and it won't look anything like what you had in your mind, but people just like disregard that because they're so focused on this specific thing. And I don't know if it's to show off to social media or something, but yeah, I don't know.
No, that's deep. Okay, yeah, love of your life could be somebody you just kind of,
because the ones I like was attracted to, I've never, like, they weren't what I saw in my mind, before. But I don't know, it's different. It's like I go off a vibe thing. Some people just go off straight, like, physical characteristics.
Right. Like, what they looks like, and then kind of what they do versus
money.
Versus the connection itself. I feel you. I mean, I can feel that because it's kind of like outside of your type. You're like, this is not one I usually be attracted to, but somehow, out of nowhere, here we are.
Nice.
So, kind of go backing off of that same question. Well, I guess with all this, feminism movements going around or whatever, do you think it's ruining the way people see relationships nowadays?
It's definitely. I think it's hard for men to know what, like, women want, because they want somebody who's masculine but not, over masculine. They want somebody who's in touch with their feelings but not soft. So it's like it's hard to balance it out and still try to be yourself, I guess, because everybody wants. Not everybody, but
right.
Like, they want a certain type of person, like a perfect type of person. So it's like relationships are about building together. They want everything already set before it even happens. It's like playing field is odd.
That's a good point. I ain't never thought of it like that. They want everything already set rather than building together or whatever. Like, you can have that initial connection with somebody, but it's not gonna be the same as you build that connection with somebody, because now it's a certain kind of foundation there. And pretty much going off that same question, So like masculinity itself, like you said, is kind of being classified as like toxic behavior. Like you said, you want to, a guy that's masculine or whatever, but not too masculine. So like, what do you think like masculinity is, and how could us men change that, toxic viewpoint?
Well, I think what masculinity is to me, because I think everybody's definitions is different. I don't think there's a set definition yet, but for me, it's being capable to defend yourself, your family, protect. Like that's what it's about for me. And like if you got kids, doing whatever it takes to get them food, clothes, like that's what masculinity is to me. But it's not just for men, I'm trying to figure out what's the balance between masculinity in men and women, because women can take on those roles too and still be masculine, I guess. Well, I'm confused about the whole thing, to be honest.
No, I mean, I get you, because there are many families where it's just single parent households, and where the woman takes over the man's role. So like, given those I guess the masculine qualities, taking care of the family and things like that, like I wouldn't necessarily call that that mom masculine, because she's taking doing masculine things or whatever, but there is a kind of like a weird balance there. I mean, I would say masculinity pretty much is in a way kind of like a certain type of strength that not everybody has. I think there's like a certain level of strength that is different between men and women. I'm not saying that women aren't strong. Definitely are when it comes to
you mean like
aspects.
Physical or both? Mental?
Yeah, I'll say
emotional?
just kind of both.
But that's programmed, isn't it? I mean, well, biology, men are more capable strength-wise, physical. But a lot of it, even the roles are programmed. Like in nature, we see like the female goes out and does a lot of the hunting. The male stays home to protect. So I don't know where that changed in time, but
right, because now
the male goes out and the woman's at home
and taking care of the kids. Yeah. That's a good point. Damn.
Just like maybe it was meant to be this certain way, but folks just wanted men to get more money. Like it's designed for certain people to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Dang. Well, I mean, because when I think of myself, like if my woman, was making X amount of money, she was doing all the breadwinning, like would I be fine being at home, taking care of the kids or whatever, being stay at home dad? And I mean, I'm putting in my head, I'm like, I wouldn't mind, but then things like ego and level of boredom as well that comes into play. I'm like, well, I mean, shoot, am I really truly a man sitting here just being taken care of? So it's kind of weird. So honestly, I think it boils down to it's not really like a set definition that we have anymore. It might have been one back then. Now you got before you had like men going out, like you said, doing the breadwinning. You went to do the hard jobs, like miners or whatever, and women stay at home or do like the easy jobs. And that's, I want to say that's
easy.
Yeah, quote unquote easy. Like we wouldn't know, because I definitely seen like many studies saying that women choose the easier jobs because they don't want to go out and be a construction worker. I can't say that all women, not going to do these certain jobs or whatever. You can't really generalize it anymore because so many different avenues and so many different types of people out there, for sure.
That's weird though, right? How the lions and stuff, they'll go out and do all the hunting. The lioness, I mean, and then the male will stay home and protect the pack. He has I wouldn't say easier job. He's not putting his life on the line that as much.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He isn't. I mean, but it's also like that male lion also stands up and has like huge amounts of pride as well. Yeah, because he's not the strongest in the jungle, but
he's not even in the jungle.
Right. He's not in the jungle at all. But you put it that way, he's not the strongest. Tigers would be better. Could I guess go up against lions, but lions have that pride and they stand there and fend off. They just all talk anyway. Got the
Even that relates to it because like we grew up learning the lion is the king of the jungle. We also grew up that men are supposed to do this way, women are supposed to do stuff this way, but it's like, all right, the lion's not even posting up in the jungle like that. So I don't know. It starts subconsciously. Going back to psychology, it's like more repetition you see on certain things, even on social media, when there's like these podcasts and conversations with OnlyFans. I'm not trying to put them in a group or nothing, but like when you're getting a certain archetype or type of people and it's repeated, people are going to think that that's the whole spectrum.
Right. Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, shout out to the certain podcasts that usually does it, but they have, like the round table or whatever, and you have like 12 or so, females in there that practically almost do all the same thing. But there's like one or two that might be 40, unmarried, or one that's married or boyfriend, girlfriend or whatever. But it's like a lot of them just OnlyFans, and they saying the same thing. Like most episodes, they're always saying the same thing. It's like,
but it's entertaining. That's why people keep tuning into it. They don't want to hear people like actually go in depth about or have a different perspective, because it's not as entertaining. People are not going to tune into it.
Exactly. I seen one female talking about what she does for her man. It's like, what is like a true, I guess, romantic, act or whatever. And she was like, my man goes to sleep first. I make sure he goes to sleep first. I, rub his back or rub his head or whatever, give him a massage so that he goes to sleep first. Or when we're walking on the street and he puts his arm around me when we're, near some dudes or we're at the club or whatever, like certain stuff like that, she would say. But that's like a once in a blue moon type of deal, because almost like that one female was saying that, but everybody else in that podcast probably was not saying the same thing. If
it was promoted as much as the OnlyFans workers, then it would be the norm.
It would be the norm, and I think honestly, I wish it was the case that we have that. I don't want to call it like traditional relationship type deal, but that relationships. Period. It's like now everybody wants to be single.
Yeah, but it's also be. Conversations should also be like not just what the woman does for the man. Like the man shouldn't have to be like, the man should contribute as well. Like it's always, I feel like the topic is always on what the woman should do for the man, as if they're not bringing in, like they're not bringing anything to the table. That's what they're trying to make the case seem like. I feel like.
Yeah. Because they usually say, well, I bring loyalty. Well, it's kind of like that's a given. I kind of expect loyalty, even though it's not common.
Yeah, on both sides.
Yeah, from both sides, exactly. It's like if I'm the breadwinner, I'm bringing in X amount of dollars. Means woman, like you don't have to go out and get a job. Like that doesn't matter to me. If I'm making, I'm a millionaire, you don't have to make any money. You don't have to get a job. But if you want to, sure. But that's not what I'm looking for. Don't be like, well, I'm this. I made six figures. Like that's you're not necessarily bringing that to the table, because I'm not bringing my money to the table either necessarily. But like they say, men are supposed to provide. So I guess I provide for you, but you don't have to do the providing back, necessarily. But that emotional support, I think that women could definitely be great for, like when it comes to like supporting their man. That's huge. Even both sides for sure. But men don't like share their emotions. They always shut off. So if woman can open him up a little bit more and be that emotional support for him, that's big.
Vice versa too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So we're going to shift a little bit to talking about kind of like purpose. So first question I have is, what does purpose mean to you?
It changed over time. Like I feel like my purpose growing up was to to find something I love and make a living out of it. Like just get money. Now I feel it's just like to experience life. Period. Like that's what I feel most resonates with me, is just going around traveling, just experiencing as much as I can, and instead of, getting money. But you need money to do all that stuff, so it's weird.
So you gotta find that balance to where I have enough money to where I can experience life, but I'm not just chasing the bag.
Yeah, exactly.
To where I can't experience life. Yeah, I feel it, because that's I don't want to say like purpose necessarily would mean to me experiencing life itself, but trying to get the best out of life there is. Like if I might not go and travel and go to clubs and go party, but I can sit down and get in a relationship and have kids, and that might be my purpose. No telling, but I think it kind of ties in with happiness a little bit. Like what does true happiness look like? Does that mean that you fulfilled your purpose? I kind of do think like if that's your purpose, I think you will find true happiness if you were given a path and you followed that path or whatever, or you made it somehow to your goal. Then I feel like you could be truly happy. But if you never really make it there, I feel like there's like a little thing in the back of your head saying, there's more I need to do, or
Yeah.
I should never went this way. I need to do something else before,
That's
I
what
settle
happened
down.
recently to me too. I was thinking it was so selfish of me to even be like, I want to do something that makes me happy. When it's like, it's all this corruption and people, there's all these victims that don't have representation. And it's like, I'm out here trying to be happy for myself, So I'm thinking it changed a little bit recently where I was just like, maybe I'm not supposed to be happy, period. I'm just supposed to help other people. Or maybe it brings happiness that way, but
Right.
like maybe I'm just supposed to do the dirty work, be a role player.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's trying to chase this happiness for themselves. And it's like, I can't blame you because this world is cold, but I think mine is more centered around just helping people who don't have the representation now instead of being happy. But I still do want to explore and stuff, but I think one's more important. Like when I was in philosophy class, we were talking a lot about duty and like not what makes you happy, but what you're supposed to do as a human being. Like, so that's what it changed for me a little bit.
Got you. So it's kind of like a passion versus calling type deal.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Like your calling may not be what you love, but if that's what field you need to go into, then you got to pursue it.
Because it's going to be something probably nagging at you a little bit like,
Exactly.
you might need to do this, or you didn't do this and now you feel some type of guilt for not doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel you. I think like helping people is really like a huge thing that kind of, I want to say like a boosts like a happiness level in somebody, but once you do something like a good act and you kind of just let it go and you do it just because out of the kindness of your heart, and then later on you kind of see like some good karma come to you, you're like, wow, I didn't even expect nothing back from it, but the fact that something came kind of makes me feel good, or just the fact that you did it anyway just kind of brings in that good feeling.
Yeah.
Because I did that the other day, just working in Dick's, and it was somebody I knew kind of or whatever. I gave them my discount. And then I go to the bakery, that somebody we know, and they give us I think it was like a free cupcake or whatever. I'm like, it was just
Full
something.
circle.
Yeah. It was like came full circle. Like, I was kind of not really thinking of it too much, but I mean, shoot, I gave them my employee discount on something, and I was like, you know what, this is because I know you. I don't want you spending, $40 on that shirt. Here, take 25% off or whatever. Boom. And I go and get a cupcake, and I get a free cupcake from a bakery. Like, it's real small, but the fact that I did it made me feel good because you know what, bro, I got you. Don't worry about it. That's why I see it that way. Yeah. Kind of. I think you said this when you were answering the first question. Have you ever felt like you lost sight of your purpose? If so, how did you regain focus?
Yeah. Like recently too, just falling into the trap of what's entertaining. Cause like a lot of times what I'm focused on is boring in comparison to what's going on in the world. But like what I do to get back in that focus is just detox from certain stuff. Like I'll just delete the app, come back on later. But the funny thing about social media and stuff, you can know exactly how it works and still fall victim to it. So I try to stay off certain stuff for a long time. But that, making music, going outside, sitting in the sun, just talking to like my angels or whatever you believe in. And yeah, that usually helps me get my focus back. Or change I got different YouTubes for different algorithms. So I go on, like I'll set my YouTube to a certain page that gives me straight information instead of entertainment. And then I'll just set my phone to that. So whenever I open YouTube, instead of seeing, content creators, like purely content creators, I'll see philosophers, theories, getting into physics, astrophysics, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think kind of got a similar YouTube page then, because I've been seeing a lot of, since I don't know how, but since I've been watching Demon Slayer, it's been giving me a whole bunch of Demon Slayer stuff right now for some reason. But before, it was giving me a lot of space facts, actual physics facts, and like Googling how like the subway worked in New York. That was giving me a whole bunch of like just how New York was built, how the subways were built, how bridges
You
were
gotta
built.
send me that.
Yeah, it's just kind of getting a whole bunch of lists of that. Well, I mean, it's information that I necessarily don't need, but it's like it's cool information to know. Like I was curious, and now I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff like that.
I mean, it's better knowing that than why Kim Kardashian let blah 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 come to her house.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad I don't get none of that stuff.
Me too. Bro.
And,
I still get it, and
What?
I'm like, I don't even press on it. Like I'll click on it to see what the headline is, and then I'll immediately click off and then say, don't recommend this channel, or whatever. But they still find a way to
throw it in there. Like, did you want to see Kylie and no, I don't want to.
I don't care about them.
Like, bro, my Instagram is different from my YouTube. I don't know why they be like matching up sometimes, but it is what it is.
I'll try to like, comment, bookmark, just to get my algorithm changed. And it's like it's still memes and stuff. I'm like, bro.
You be listening to the YouTube shorts too? You be watching those?
Yeah, too much.
You be scrolling for a little bit.
Just mindlessly scrolling. And then now it's different. It's so whack because they'll know your attention span is short, so they'll have a freaking podcast or like just somebody talking, and then they'll have a game under it. I was like, it is entertaining watching the game. I was like, damn, this is where we come to, bro. I gotta watch a game while I'm listening to something that's already short.
I mean, the worst I think is when they give you like a quick short video on something, and then the next video be like a 3-minute long, but it's entertaining 3 minutes long. So it took you like, dang, watching this whole 3 minutes. But I don't want to miss the 3-minute video. But I like scrolling on TikTok for like 2 hours one time, and I'm like, yo, I just lost 2 hours of my day. I could have been doing something totally different. Like, what am I doing? I'm gonna at least turn on my TV rather than I'm sitting here staring at my phone.
Did you watch Soul?
Yeah.
Bro, that's what gets me focused too. Like when I think about when he was having like an outer body experience and he was just watching his life go by. Like I was just, every time I'm doing something that's just wasting time, basically, I'll just think about that. Like imagine after this life is done and I'm watching myself on the freaking game on my phone, scrolling and stuff, compared to like if I was just hiking or doing some exploring or something like that.
Yeah, you're saying like, bro, what was I doing with my life sitting right here? I could have been doing something more productive. Yeah. Shoot, I think of that all the time. Even though like sometimes I'm kind of consumed by what I was doing. I'd be on the game. I'm like, you know what, bro, I'm finna stay on this game. But then I look back and I'm like, you know what, I probably should have, went out, did my walk or whatever. I should have did my homework, so I don't got to be rushing for it on Sunday, 11:59, when it's due. So, nah, I definitely feel you on that one. When it comes to me, I guess, I think, in a way, I don't think my purpose has ever changed. I think I definitely lost, sight of it. Recently, I think I lost sight of it a lot. Because, before I graduated, I was like, it's football.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going. Like, I'm going NFL. I'm going to make X amount of dollars. I'm going to have a big house. Too. Yeah, like, I knew you was going to be a hooper. You was straight like that. And you still is good like that, no doubt. But then I guess something clicked in my head. I was like, you know what? This don't feel right no more. It's not feeling right in my heart. Yeah. And it took me a while for my mind to agree with my heart. And then when I quit football, I was like, all right, here we are. I'm starting to work. I'm in school. Maybe astronomy is my deal. I love space. What about that? And then I'm getting into it. I'm like, all right, I don't know about doing 8 years of school. That don't sound right. That sound like money that I don't really want to pay. I don't want to be in debt. And then I got this job here, and I swear they planned something, because for like 5 months, I don't want to say 5 months, maybe like the first 3 months working, they kept asking me, what is it you want to do? I'm like, yeah, I want to be an astronomer. That's why I'm a social science right now. This is what I want to do. All right, okay. And then my boss Mike, he kept talking to me. All right, and then I get in the car with Greg. So what is it you want to do when you graduate? What you going to school for? And I swear I got that conversation so many times. And
the same day?
Not the same day, but it was like I think it happened. Like Mike asked me that question when I was here in the office, and then like when I go into a shoot like the next day or something like that, Greg would ask me. So it was kind of like I don't. They probably wasn't talking about it, but it was kind of funny how they were asking me the same question. And then we go to a shoot in Gastonia, which is not far from Charlotte, and our client was asking. We were just eating or whatever. So mind you, best work day ever. The drive there, I was getting paid. I did like an hour and a half of work I was getting paid for, and then we went out to eat. I got paid for, and the drive back I was getting paid for.
You got paid for eating?
Yes. Kid you not, I got paid for eating. But while we was eating, she kind of was, because she's a doctor, and she was like just kind of giving me great pointers on school. She was like, what do you do now, like for free when it comes to space wise? Like don't do nothing now. Don't do go to school and pay for something you don't even do now. Like if you're not knowing like what's going on with the moon, what's going on with asteroids or whatever, what's going on out there right now. You're not doing that, studying right now or whatever. Then why would you go to school to do it if you ain't doing it now? You can pay that money to not really be in it. So obviously she was like, oh, that's a good point, because maybe I'm not really in it. Maybe I don't want to do it as a career. I mean, I love space, still do. I still talk about it for hours, but maybe it wasn't, that as a career path wasn't me. And then after that, I think maybe a month later is when I realized, let me shift a little bit. Then I'm like, you know what? Maybe cybersecurity is my deal. I've always been liking tech and computers and stuff. I'm cool with computers. I can do that. I was always computers since I was middle school. And then I did like an IT job. All right, maybe IT might be my deal. And then Mike asked me again, you sure you want to do that? I'm like, I mean, I would think so. So like, it's kind of funny because now that I'm getting into like media production, that's where I want my path to be now. And Mike said, was like, I was kind of trying to get you to go there. Like, you're good at it. You might not, it might not be necessarily your passion, but it might, be your calling. You're really good at this media production. You got an eye for it. Why not at least try to dip your toes in it? And I realized this whole time I was not listening to what people were telling me. Like, it was, folk were telling me, maybe football isn't your thing. I'm like, no, I want to be in the NFL. And then maybe astronomy isn't your thing. No, I really want to be an astronomer. So now that I'm actually just starting to listen, it's kind of funny how everything's kind of just clicking now. Everything, it feels right what I'm doing. It feels like I need to be in this, site. So I really didn't like do much to regain focus rather than actually listen to what people are telling me.
And experience.
Yeah, and I even thought about the military. I'm glad I did.
Me too.
I thought about the military. I talked to the Marines. Like, she sometimes be texting me now. I'm like, bro, I'm not coming to the Marines. Like, a lot of people just tell me, don't go to the Marines. Whatever you do military, don't go to the Marines. I'm like, well, maybe I can do Air Force. Nah, they was like, that might not be you. I'm like, he right. Because I always said since the beginning, I'm not going to the military. So I'm kind of glad I didn't choose that path. But now that I, have this purpose in mind, it's kind of like what, how far do I want to take it, to what extent? So this podcast now is kind of like just kind of getting my gears working, trying to figure out what I want to do. Because, shoot, I want to make a movie one day. That would be real cool. Or a TV show or something. Necessarily, I'm not really looking for just the money, but like, shoot, I mean, we were talking
art,
about, like the art.
The love
like,
for it.
It just seems so cool to like some great story writing, like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, the story was amazing. And then I was even looking at it from like the visuals, the cinematography, like the colors, like all that, just contributed into an amazing movie. And I'm watching a show called The Idol with the Weekend show or whatever. It's a hard show to watch necessarily if you haven't like seen anything like that, but the writing is good. And that writing kind of intrigues me because I'm like, well, shoot, I can make something like that.
Yeah.
Or, I wish to make something like that one day for sure. So, I think my purpose is, is getting more clear now. I don't think I wouldn't know probably until, late 20s.
Yeah.
Like it's going to take a little minute for it to really, cement in my brain that this is what I need to be doing necessarily. But I do wish, I do help some people along the way for sure. Yeah.
I mean, them movies, people might not think about it as helping people out, but a lot of people like base their personalities off characters, like really motivate them. I mean, I take little things from everybody, but like those movies, just like after watching that Spider-Man movie, I was like, whoever's behind this, the whole thing, the writing, the characters, the animation, I was like, they're geniuses. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how somebody could draw that up from scratch.
Yeah, it just sounds like it took some time, and then just man, like it was really a great movie. Like it's not a lot of 10 out of 10 movies out there.
No, facts.
And that's one of them. And I need to watch the first one again because I don't know if I want to say the first one's better than the second one or the second one's better than the first one.
I think the second one's better, bro.
That's what I would say. But I think there might be some people out there that might disagree. But no, that second movie was like that. So next question, pretty much, kind of goes off kind of what I was talking about, how you were, very talented in basketball. We just knew that you was going to the league. Honestly, we knew that you and your brother were going to the league, where y'all was just that nice. And then like along with your hard working practice or whatever. Like we just kind of saw it was like, yeah, this, he going. So like, why did you choose that it was like, or what made you come to the conclusion that it was not something that you wanted to do anymore, or kind of what like swayed you to not be in it necessarily anymore?
It's the same thing you said. Really, it's just the heart feeling. It was like kept asking for signs, and I always received them on a consistent basis for like whatever I asked for. It was like very specific, distinct things I'd ask to see from those higher powers or whatever, and I saw them every time. And it was just like that feeling too from 2020 when I started like really trying to tune in with myself, just hearing myself more. That junior year of basketball was I still loved it, but that senior year was just like, I'm just doing this. You feel me? Like I was always obsessed with it, but something just switched that year. Same thing for you, right?
Yeah, and that's the same. Yeah, same thing for real. Once it's in your heart, and it's like it's hard to kind of mask that feeling too, because people can see it. Obviously people can tell. I mean, they might not say something, or they might say something, but it's like people can see that you're just kind of just not in it no more. But like, what some examples did you like ask for and things that came up that you saw, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, like whether you believe in it or not, like certain things just resonated with me. Like I did a couple card readings. Every time I asked about basketball, it'd be a death card. And even when I did it recently, like 2 months ago, I asked about it again because I was thinking about going back into it. Freaking swords in the back card. Like it was always something. It was consistent. Like, I don't believe everything is for a reason, but I believe there's some things where you can't ignore. Like it can't be a coincidence. So that on top of what I already felt, and just asking, like I'd reach out to spirit guides or whatever you call them, whatever you want to call them, and then I'll ask for things that you wouldn't see every day, right? And I'd say, show me 3 of these, and then I'd see them, and I'd be like, that's crazy.
So it's kind of like I guess kind of like how some people see like angel numbers or whatever. Yeah. And just kind of out of nowhere, it's just like, oh wow, 222. And I'm just like, every time I look at the clock, it's always these certain numbers or whatever. Now, I mean, I've talked to my dad about seeing signs. It's just like sometimes you just at some point you got to stop ignoring those things you see. Like you see it and it kind of just all right, whatever, keep moving. You see something again, you're like, all right, and then like it's like you see it enough times, you're like, all right, maybe I need to start listening.
I'm in tune with something.
Yeah.
And it's like it's too. Like, not everybody... The hardest part was trying to explain it to people because everybody was, like, in this mindset of you're going pro to get money, right?
Right.
And I'm like... Yeah. I'm privileged enough where I could choose where I want to go, what field I want to go into. But just from a personal experience, it was too much not to ignore. I tried to ignore it, but it was just like something was out there calling me to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in one basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, it sounds nice. I mean, shoot, yeah, you see these NBA players getting these big, nice deals, like, but I don't think those folk, they don't play for the money. They play for, some might. They might go out there, but I think on a certain level, you have to love the game enough to, to just play. Like, you shoot. Like I said, some people go out there, just to hoop and hoop for fun. They don't really care about it necessarily the winning part. Like, shoot, some people just want to win. But like, shoot, I like being out here. I like hooping. I like dunking or whatever. So I think on a certain level, it's like I want to do this thing because I like to do it rather than I want to have money. Like, and that's the way I thought of cybersecurity. I was like, shoot, man, this is easy. I get, $60K off of entry level job. But would I like to do it? Actually, do I want to do it? Rather than this, is, it's not a very consistent, money. I can make millions. I can make no money off of this, but I like to do it. So it's kind of like finding what you like to do. I think it's a big thing when it comes to like purpose or whatever.
That's the hardest part too, is like what you want to do 9 times out of 10 is not going to align financially. Mm-hmm. Or not, well, depending on the person, obviously, but like a lot of the stuff I want to do, even my car reader was warning me. She was like, it may not have a lot of money coming from it. I was just like, what am I going to sacrifice to really do what I want to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was thought about like art majors. I mean,
Facts.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the art looks amazing. It's this, but how much money do you actually make? I mean, what is it? How are you, being able to provide for yourself while doing, what you like? So I think,
Yeah.
on a way, it's like sometimes you got to sacrifice, 3 years of grinding, doing a full-time job that you really don't want to do, so you can, fund, your passion or your purpose, pretty much.
Art's probably the hardest thing to do right now. Probably the most more accepted, but like they don't give you your props until you die. Like even Basquiat, I remember his paintings were going for $100 million when he died, bro.
What?
But when he was alive, he was facing all this racism and his stuff wasn't. He was still selling, but like $100 million, he would not get that if he was alive. And like a lot of artists just don't get that type of recognition until they leave.
Yeah, I think it's artists on kind of just all art, pretty much.
Yeah.
When it comes to musicians. I mean, like X was getting recognition before he died, but now it's a lot bigger now.
Crazy.
This is a lot of folk that when he dies now, oh shoot, now I want to look into him. I hope that's not me. And I think J. Cole said perfect on the song though. It's like now I'm kind of like being stuck with being heard and getting old. Like he's saying a lot of good things on his music, but like do I want to die young? Where I haven't nobody really heard me yet. Then when I die now they actually want to listen to what I'm saying. Do I want to be heard now? So then when I die, all my work, now it's just kind of spread out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel that. And last question here I got pretty much is what are some of your proudest accomplishments and how have they shaped you into the person you are today?
Well, let me hear yours first.
I probably should have thought of this question before, but
because I want to go off as if you're thinking like material or experience.
I'll say both. So like I think one of the proudest accomplishments I have as of right now, off the top of my head, would be kind of like this job and learning is all that I can. Because working at Dick's, it was cool for the moment, and I made X amount of dollars. But now here, I'm making. Sometimes I can make $300 in a week, $500 in a week. I might make zero because right now I'm just doing like seal work. I'm just building my knowledge in my head. So I'm not making like no money as of right now, but I feel accomplished on the fact that I'm able to be okay with just learning.
That's
Yeah, so like over that I've said it that 2023 I'm making a big decision that's going to really affect the next 5 years of my life. And it was funny because when I said that, the next couple months was me figuring out that I didn't want to do cybersecurity, me figuring out that the military option came into play, and then I figured out that I didn't want to do that, and I finally made a decision I want to do media. And then I switched my major in school to arts, so that I can move into like a communications degree or along the media production line rather than just being in science. So it was like, it was funny because I said that, and then all these stuff kind of comes up in my head, and a lot of events happen to where now I'm kind of like, not say forced to make that decision, but it just kind of lined up perfectly. So now that decision's been made, or I'm still probably have to some decision making to do. But I think that's like my proudest accomplishment as of right now, and as well as being able to handle 2 jobs in school at the same time. I mean,
bro, I don't know how people do it. Like seriously,
it's not that easy. But then once I was able to put a schedule up and just kind of limit myself a little bit, like, all right, bro, I can't work all the time. Like, I had to put this job in priority because at first I was working at Diggs and I was going 2 days out the week at Diggs or 3 days here and back and forth. And I was like, all right, I can't do this too much. I'm missing school. I got C's right now. Like I need get my grades up. I want to transfer. But once I guess I don't know, I was able to handle that stress. I was like, I feel accomplished now. Like I actually was able to handle what's on my plate rather than having to take something off the plate. Pretty much. So I think that's my accomplishments right now. I would say they shaped me pretty well. I don't really got no complaints necessarily right now. And being able to make the amount of money that I do, it's not like a bragging thing, but it's just I mean, most people my age are in school and they don't really got that much money because all the money's going to school or they're going to the food that they have, so they can't really buy the things they want to have. They can't buy new shoes right now because they gotta eat, or they can't buy some new clothes right now because they gotta eat. They can't spend too much time on the game because they gotta finish their homework. So being able to, my accomplishment now that I, have like the certain amount of freedom that I do versus other people my age is, I think that's an accomplishment as well.
You think, like, what role do you think your parents played in that? Just like in incorporating or influencing you subconsciously, or but like being surrounded. Like, what do they surround you with?
They always surround me with resources, I would say. I mean, they always drop so much, especially my dad. Well, my dad always dropped knowledge on me, and it's kind of funny because me and him talk about it all the time. He'll tell me some stuff about either business, life, or whatever. We talk about it, and I come here, and Mike and Greg tell me the same exact thing. Like, I don't, it's like, and they don't really talk necessarily, but they talk like, probably 3 times in total. But it's like, I get told something about my dad years ago. I know it, whatever. But you kind of, sometimes parents tell you something, you don't really listen to it until somebody else tell you, and you realize, oh, my parents were saying something right. Maybe I need to listen.
Yeah.
So I think like in that, and along with the resources, I mean, the ability to still be at home while in school.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. That's
big. Yeah.
And then everything that I wanted to do, and I brought to their plate, and it's like, well, I got somebody you can call. I got somebody you can talk to. Ask them about this, or they might just have some knowledge off the dome. My dad was, military. My dad was like, oh yeah, you can do that. You should do that or whatever. But I want you to go in as officer. I don't want you to enlist. I'm like, okay. So it means at least if I still want to do military, I'll have to do another 2 years in school, finish my bachelor's, and then get in the military. But obviously I don't want to do military at all. But like him, being able to provide that information and surround me with that, as well as just the support. I mean, everything that I've changed, it was like with football, they had made like a $1,500 investment when it comes to recruiting.
Oh yeah, the agent.
Yeah, and shoot, I mean, he was perfect. I mean, he still somewhat, I guess, could help me now. I'm just really not necessarily using him. But when it came to straight football, and then I was in football, I wanted to do it, and they was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to do football." And then now, like 2 years later down the line, I'm like, "No, I don't want to do football no more." That on me, that kind of hurts. Yeah. I feel like I let my parents down because I told them that I wanted to do it. Yeah, they invested in me. They supported me. They pushed me or whatever, and here I am. Just kind of. I don't want to say I shit on them, but it kind of feels like I just kind of spit in their face, like nah, I ain't gonna do that. But even now, I still appreciate that they're still behind me. Still like, you know what, you might still live here, but whenever you're ready to move out, we got you or whatever. And as well as don't move out too soon. And say, right. I know you want to get up out of the house on the rules, but don't move out too soon because you don't want to come back. All right, we'll let you come back, but you don't want to do that. And an example was my sister. She moved out, went to school, whatever, and was going to something, and then she ended up moving out, like, seriously, in her own spot. Now she's back in the house. So I'm like, me seeing that, it's like, well, ooh, I don't want to be like that. I already knew that when I move out, I don't want to come back. But, sometimes life happens. Yeah. But it's just being able to see that my parents, accepted her back and didn't, like, turn her away, like, nah, you can't live here, Mm-hmm. It's just sees that they'll always be there for me or whatever. Pretty much, yeah.
I feel the same way in terms of like investment. I thought, like just thinking of how much money was spent, and I wouldn't say it gone to waste because experience, you can't put a price on that, but just thinking of how much time, how much games they went to, how much BS coaches they got to put up with, like, but they don't seem mad about it at all. Like you said, they seem supportive in whatever aspect whatever road I travel in. But my biggest accomplishments, I just say how much I evolved, period. Like just how much I changed over time, mentally, physically, spiritually, like just changed my thinking a lot. And a lot of that was influenced by my parents and what like they surrounded me by as well. Just being supportful. Is that a word?
Supportive.
Yeah, supportive. Supportive of wherever I go and not forcing me to go in any area besides martial arts growing up. But I think, like looking back on it now, I think every kid should be forced to do some type of self-defense besides, like karate or something.
Yeah, a little taekwondo to do in elementary school.
It's different now. Everybody is carrying. But, I just say My evolution overall. I don't have really huge accomplishments right now. I think that's something I got to work on.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. And I think a lot of people would say, like, graduating from high school is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
And when people said that, like, oh my God, congratulations, da da da, I'm like, I mean, it's like something I'm supposed to do, though. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I'm
but it's
supposed to
different for
graduate.
different people. Like, some people, it's their first in their generation.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, like, it wasn't an expectation. It was just something that was there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's different for different people.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. I kind of didn't see it that way. I know, especially, like, and usually you say, like, first-generation college students, but
Yeah.
for first-generation, high school graduate, that's another thing. And I know that's especially for, like, some years ago, back then, shoot, I know some people's only had, like, a grandmother, I think, only had, like, an 8th grade, education.
They got to be taking care of their siblings at the
Yeah,
same time,
taking care
going
of
to
their
work,
siblings, and then
going
taking
to
care of their
school,
kids,
like,
and then their kids, and
yeah.
like, I can't do all this and just go to high school. No, I'm gonna drop out and go to work,
Right.
and straight just working or whatever.
That's
and
what a lot of
like,
people do.
Yeah,
And then they end up working for, like, a lot, but they still do what they have to do. That's what I respect.
And they end up raising some amazing people too. So
strong.
yeah, so I mean, in a way, I mean, it's not necessarily like a huge to me. Knowing that, it's not like a huge accomplishment to
We had both
graduate.
parents.
Yeah, we did. I gotta remember that sometimes. I do. That not everybody is blessed in that way, or
Privilege.
Yeah, privilege. That's the word. I said blessed. I mean, blessed, privilege. They are blessed, but privileged to have both parents in the house. Because I don't know what I would do.
Me either, bro. Like, seriously, I would probably drop out. I was considering dropping out without all of that stuff, just basketball. I was just like, yo, I don't like school, bro. I might drop out.
Well, school was terrible, and I just, man, I do miss high school a bit though.
I don't.
What?
But seeing all these people, like, even one of my group partners from my college project, she was a mother. You would never know this unless you spoke to her, but because she always came in, like, just had a bright aura around her.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a kid with sickle cell, another kid with PTSD and in the hospital. So she would be in and out of class. And it was just like, yo, you really got to deal with all that on top of going to school, knowing that you're losing money. I mean, it's an investment, but it's like, at the same time, you're losing money. You got kids in the hospital, and you would never know that if you didn't speak to her.
Wow.
It's like people in high school was going through that, bro.
Yeah. What was like her work ethic was like that too, right?
Yeah, she just, like, it was her spirit. Like, those type of situations create just strong-minded people. And you, like, a lot of those people that go through all of that stuff is just like, they have the brightest spirit around them. There's something about those type of situations and being able to prevail through them that just makes them built different, I guess.
They are, because I don't think I could be able to do it like them, and just, shoot, I can just straight commend them for it, because, like, yo, you going through all that and you still here smiling.
Yeah, so you can't judge people.
Yeah, at all. Thank you, Xavier, for coming and sharing. I appreciate all your opinions, and you had some great answers, and I hope that our conversation enlightens those watching or listening, and hope to see y'all next time. Peace out.